been wanting to get new blinds for my office because the ones that I have are pretty lousy and they don't work the greatest anymore. They always sag open and they don't roll back up all the way, and they're pretty cheap and flimsy and don't look the greatest in general. And then also I wanted to upgrade the blinds in my daughter's room to be blackout blinds just to hopefully help her take better naps in the daytime. And so recently I got some new smart blinds. These are from Canisteo and these were a total game changer. I've been super pleased with the way they turned out. And so in this video, I wanted to share with you what this process looks like of getting smart blinds and then just share with you my experience along the way. I pulled up my order to share with you exactly what I got. So I have the Canisteo Motorized roller shades. I got them in blackout and pure, and I got them in the color white. I decided to upgrade to the Matter over Thread motor, which is a smart motor. That way I can connect my phone to it via Bluetooth and then be able to control them from anywhere just from my cell phone, which is awesome. But you do need a hub to be able to do that. I decided to go with the inside mount because I personally think it looks a lot nicer when it's mounted inside of the window versus outside on the wall, and I feel like it blocks more light when you do it that way. The blinds came in a short amount of time and it was all packaged really nicely. Everything was wrapped in bubble wrap and foam in different boxes, so nothing came damaged or broken. Everything came in mint condition. The next step for me was to actually install these, which was a very simple process as well. All I had to do was screw in these brackets into the upper part of my windowsill, and then basically you clip the blinds directly onto those brackets, and that's it, you're good to go. The one struggle I had was with this large office window, and that was because I didn't measure it fully correctly. And the reason is because this house is very old and the windows are pretty warped, which I just took a general measurement of my window width and I thought that would be good to go. But I realized that as I went further to the top of my windows, it narrows at the top of it. So there was actually less of a gap there. And the blinds, I literally had to like shove them in and wedge them between my windowsill because I didn't measure properly. So I encourage you to like triple check your measurements, especially at the top of your windowsill where the blinds will actually be installed. I was still able to slam mine in there and make them fit, but to avoid that hassle, I would just recommend double checking, and you could probably get away with being slightly inside of your dimensions versus slightly too large of a measurement. So that's one thing I learned. Once I got those installed, I also went around to all the other windows to install all the other blinds, which those went a lot smoother. It was honestly only this one large window that gave me a struggle. All the other ones fit perfectly and the dimensions were spot on. After I got them all installed, my next step was to actually pair them with the remote. And the nice thing about the remote is it was able to pair with each of the different windows. And something I didn't realize that you can do is actually pair two blinds together to the same channel. That way you can lower them and raise them at the same time. I thought I was going to have to program each window to a different channel, but I didn't have to do that, but I could if I wanted to separate them. So I thought that was a very nice feature. Another thing I did was change the endpoints. That way when it fully closed, it didn't hit the bottom of my windowsill. I wanted it to sit flush against it. So all I had to do was basically program the remote to stop it there. It was very simple. And they have a pamphlet with all the directions in it so that you know how to change all these things. It's very simple to do though. I can't remember what the steps were. You basically hold down the power button until the motor jogs, and then you hold down your remote until the motor jogs, and you're done. It was very simple to change the parameters of your blinds. After that, I was basically good to go, and I thought these blinds turned out looking excellent. I feel like the build quality is just so nice. The material is like a thicker material and it also has like a texture to it, so they look really nice in person. And then the bottom bar is kind of weighted and it looks very clean as well. I also decided to get the cassette that goes at the top that hides the rolling bar up top, and I feel like that looks really nice. The overall appearance of these things are just beautiful, but then on top of that, they function really well. The motor is very strong enough to get them up and down, and I think the battery lasts a very long time as well, and they're relatively quiet. They're not obnoxious in any way, so they just feel really cool. It feels like I have a higher end home because I have nice blinds in it. Also, the range on the remote works good as well. I can control my daughter's blinds in her room from my office here, and there's like a wall and barrier separating us, so I'm glad that it still is able to change her blinds from my office. That way when she wakes up, I can automatically turn the blinds on. That way it gives her some light and help her wake up naturally before I go in and get her. So I love that I can control it all from the remote out here in my office. Another upgrade that I decided to get were the light blockers that go on the sides of the windows just to help get rid of any extra light that might spill out. And I think these things actually make a pretty big difference in the brightness of your room, so I was glad I ended up getting them. The one thing about them is the 3M tape didn't seem to stick the greatest on my windowsills, and these windowsills are pretty old. Some of the paint is even chipping off, so I don't know if it's like that on every window or wall that you'll stick them to, but all I ended up doing was tossing a screw in the sides of it, and now they're not going anywhere. So that's basically the whole initial setup process that I went through. It honestly didn't take me hardly any time at all to complete this task of installing new blinds and getting rid of my old ones. The one thing I do have to do in my daughter's room is mud and patch the holes where the curtains used to be, but that shouldn't be too difficult. And then honestly, I've been really pleased with the way these Canisteo blinds turned out. I feel like they operate so smoothly, and I'm just really impressed by the quality of their product. The one semi-downfall or thing you have to keep in mind is these are more costly than just normal non-smart blinds. So looking back to my order, this large window blind came out to a price of $388, and this blind over here came out to $310. Now, I did make a lot of upgrades like the light blockers, the smart motor, the cassette bar up top, so I did add on those things, which I think they are a good investment to upgrade. If you're going to get smart blinds in general, you might as well get the things that you really want. But that is one downfall, is they are a little bit more pricey than typical blinds, but I've been pleased with them. So hopefully this video gave you a little bit more insight about these smart blinds. I recommend them. I think they work great. They look awesome, and they just make my office feel so much more high-tech now, and I love it. So there it is. Have a good day.